everyone, Emma here, and welcome to our first annual Media Roundup. The year is 2025. Essentially what we're doing for the 2025 Media Roundup is I am sharing a list with you of a lot of the movies and TV shows and music I've been engaging with over the last calendar year. We're gonna do some rankings, we're gonna have some fun. I like the phrase roundup because it sounds vaguely cowboy and is not really associated with any specific organization. Before we begin, we're laying down some ground rules. First, I've learned that anytime I post any sort of opinion on the internet, people love to tell me that I'm wrong. If you want to share your opinion in the comments, totally fine. If you want to say, hey, I hate your opinion, I will block you. It's my page, I do what I want. Another rule I want to establish is I know that the comments are going to be like, well, you missed this, or what about this? If it's not on the list, it is because A, I didn't like it that much, or B, I haven't engaged with it yet. Simple as that. Another thing I want to note about the ranking system is it's going to be incredibly random. Sometimes we rank things that just came out in 2025. Sometimes we rank things that I just engaged with in 2025. Sometimes we do top 10s. Sometimes we do top 5s. Sometimes we do top 3s. Sometimes I throw in some honorable mentions at varying numbers. It's not going to make a lot of sense, and that's fine. Alrighty, the first category we're going to start with is movies. Okay, we're going to start with some honorable mentions before we dive into the top 10, and it's going to be The Phoenician Scheme and Frankenstein. Two filmmakers I love, two very solid entries in their filmography. Like, The Phoenician Scheme surprised me how much I liked it. It's not quite Asteroid City, and it's not quite Grand Budapest Hotel. Frankenstein, I wish I liked a little bit more. What I will say is it's a very beautiful film, and some other films that came out this year that might have been really big slash based on a musical did not look how I wanted them to look. I saw color and shadows and things weren't backlit. So thank you, Guillermo del Toro, for at least making a very aesthetically pleasing film. And Jacob Elordi surprised me. Solid. Okay, number 10, we're starting off with Black Bag. Steven Soderbergh has done it again. I like that this boy from Louisiana is making a British spy film. I just had a great time, and it really did kind of sneak into the top 10.
Hi, it's Emma from the future here. Since I recorded that video, I did see Marty Supreme. It's probably number 9-ish or 10-ish on the list, so you can just kind of scooch everything down a little bit. I also watched Train Dreams, did not like, so did not factor in. Back to Emma from the past.
At number 9, it's going to be One Battle After Another. I think people liked this a lot more than I did. However, I know myself, and I know that PTA movies a lot of times take a second watch for me to like them. I did like it. I think it's Sean Penn's best work. A lot of great stuff going on. Benicio del Toro, my favorite bit. I just don't think about it that much after the fact, and that's okay. At number 8, and this really snuck in here, it's gonna be Avatar: Fire and Ash. I saw this 2 days ago. Was not expecting it to be in the top 10, but here we are. The Avatar franchise is fascinating because half of it is kind of a meme or kind of just like really silly, and I understand that. But the other half is so earnest and some great storytelling. And this is my favorite Avatar film. The Fire People, amazing. I think it has one of the best villains of the year, and that includes performance-wise. I didn't even know who it was until the credits. It's a big epic grounded in human stories, which is what James Cameron does best. I had a great time. I would see it in the theater if you can. I saw it in IMAX 3D. Don't sleep on Avatar, that's all I'm saying. Number 7, and I wasn't expecting to like this one, it's gonna be Eddington, Ari Aster. It wasn't getting great reviews at festivals, and I am very, very, very mixed on Ari Aster. So my expectations were low, which I think is maybe why I ranked it so high. It's good at kind of poking fun at like the silliness and things we should be mildly embarrassed about during the COVID era. But then it also reminds us about intense political violence. I was moved. I thought it was good. Number 6 is going to be Sentimental Value. I don't like this one as much as his other film, Worst Person in the World, but I really like it still. I feel like it's very episodic vignette-y in a way that really worked. That doesn't always work for me. I think there's some threads that don't quite pull all the way through, but the last scene is amazing. I feel like they really pulled it together at the end. Stellan Skarsgård, that's a performance. That's one of my favorites of the year. Number 5 is going to be The Ballad of Wallace Island. My disclaimer here is it probably shouldn't actually be in the top 5 just purely based on the quality of the film. I put it at number 5 because I wanted to communicate to you that if you did not see this movie this year, you need to correct that. It is very wholesome, very delightful. I saw it at Sundance. I didn't know anything about it except it had Carey Mulligan in it and it was about folk music, ? I was immediately greeted with one of my favorite comedians, Tim Key, who I know from Taskmaster, and we're gonna get there in a minute. But I don't want to say too much about the premise because the movie explains itself very early on and totally follows through on its promises. Not in a way you always expect, but if you want something that's funny and feel good and just like a good time, I highly, highly, highly recommend this film. I think my biggest note is I wish the music was a little bit more memorable. I think I'm spoiled because Once is one of my favorite movies, and that's an all-timer. Okay, at number 4, it's gonna be Sinners. This better be in a lot of y'all's top lists because it's excellent. I remember when the trailer came out, people are like, it kind of looks bad. I'm like, no, it doesn't. I mean, Ryan Coogler's great. And I'm just a simple gal. If you want to talk politics through the lens of genre, I'm sat. If Michael B. Jordan is not nominated for Best Actor at the Oscars, I don't know what y'all are doing. And I love that they gave us the silly color-coded costumes, but I didn't need them because Michael B. Jordan's performance was that good. I know exactly what character he was at any given time. Number 3 is going to be Begonia. Another one that I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it. Yorgos, I either love or hate. There's no in between. Luckily, this was a love. It really helps that I'm a Jesse Plemons stan till I die, and he's so, so, so good. The music, y'all are sleeping on Jerskin Fendrix. People are mad about the end, whatever. I'm just like not quite sure how he captured rural America so perfect. It is extremely distressing and violent, that's what I'll say. But it had to be in my top 3. At number 2, we have Sorry Baby. This was another one I saw at Sundance completely blind. I knew nothing, and it became my number 2 film of the year. And I might be a little bit biased here because it is very uniquely catered to what I was doing at the time when it came out. I was a grad student who was writing a dissertation about the Me Too movement. And this movie came in at the perfect time, fully formed, so good. A24 picked it up. It had a limited theatrical release. I think it's on HBO Max now. If you missed it, I think people might have missed this one. First time filmmaker, can't believe it. They are so funny and charming. If you want something that's just like deeply human and talks about difficult subjects with like a degree of lightness and humor, it's all you need. And number 1, and I feel a little bit basic here because I feel like I'm just saying the Academy shortlist for a lot of these. It's gonna be Hamnet. Chloe Zhao I always like. This is the first time I loved. And I didn't want to have my expectations too high. I love Shakespeare. I love a quiet family film. And it just really ticked all the boxes. I will start crying if I think about it too much. I was like hiccup sobbing in the theater, but everyone else was as well. It's just shot so beautifully. It hits all the emotional notes. Paul Mescal, who I've always liked, I was like, oh, he's an actor, there he is. And Jessie Buckley, I've been following for a long time. This is some of her best work. It just had to be number 1. It's a very Emma-coded movie. It's excellent. Before we wrap up movies, I did want to throw in 5 films that I watched this year for the first time that ended up being some of my favorites. These films did not come out this year, but I watched them for the first time this year, and I feel like these 5 deserve a special shout out. Number 5, that's going to be Before Sunrise. I've been avoiding this trilogy because I am afraid it was going to be emotionally devastating to me. Finally watched the first one. As charming and delightful as I expected. And number 4, it's going to be High and Low. I watched this in preparation to prepare for the Spike Lee adaptation, Highest to Lowest, which I didn't actually end up seeing. But the original was so good. Number 3, this one took me by surprise, was 28 Days Later. I watched this in preparation of 28 Years Later, which was fine. The Ralph Fiennes parts were the best, and now he's getting a movie, so we're gonna see how that goes. But I'd never seen 28 Days Later, just the original, Cillian Murphy. I was reminded what it was like to watch a new favorite film for the first time. The twist is amazing. I had no idea. The end is just kind of Cillian Murphy killing people, shot like a 90s music video. Remarkable. Brendan Gleeson, haunting. Very, very good. Number 2, I actually watched on a plane recently, and that's gonna be Moonstruck. Someone should have told me to watch this movie earlier. It is so Emma-coded. Cher is amazing. Nicolas Cage is obviously amazing. He's unhinged. It is so nice. It was always described to me as a rom-com. It is so much more than a rom-com. It's not even structured like a rom-com. It's like, I've never seen a movie with this tone in my life. I didn't realize how Italian it was. That was very fun. Loved, loved, loved Moonstruck. And number 1, shocked I hadn't seen this yet, is Faces Places, Agnes Varda. Burst into tears multiple times. The friendship is so beautiful. It's just so affirming to the human experience. I know that's very cliche. It's so nice. Oh, I loved it. Movies, done. Next, music. My disclaimer about my music taste. Movies are like my thing, so I'll go out of my way to kind of watch everything. I do not go out of my way to listen to all music that came out this year. I have so many blind spots. I listen to what I like and I don't listen to anything else. So don't expect a well-rounded take here. We're gonna start out with some honorable mentions of individual songs, and then we're gonna dive into my top 3 albums and the songs I like in those albums. The first one is gonna be The Beaches' Can I Call You in the Morning. I've been listening to The Beaches since 2021. I'm ahead of the game. I like this album a lot. This one's just very catchy. Highly recommend. The next honorable mention is going to be Florence Road, Hand Me Downs. I don't know anything about this band. I think they're Irish. I think they just have an EP and some singles. I think it just came up randomly as I was listening on shuffle. And this one just like gets me hyped. There's like a great build at the bridge. Really love this one. And my last honorable mention is Hayley Williams' Parachute. I like this whole album as well. I just didn't listen to it enough for me to talk about it like I'm going to talk about these other 3. But Parachute's amazing. She's also just one of the best vocalists of our time, so.
Hi, it's Emma from the future again. I'm literally editing the video as we speak and I realized I forgot one of my favorite songs of the year. And it's Bun of Pins by Matt Berninger, who I've been pronouncing Berninger forever, so I'm sorry, Matt. It is excellent. I'm really needing a new national album, so that is all. Back to Emma from the past.
Okay, top 3 albums, here we go. At number 3, we have Everybody Scream Florence and the Machine. I've been listening to Florence and the Machine since Lungs, 2009. And I don't like this one quite as much as Dance Fever, which really spoke to me for some reason. But this album as a whole is really excellent. I love that Erin Dessner's involved. I'm seeing her in May. I'm very, very excited. In addition to explaining my top 3 albums, I'm going to tell you my top 3 songs within those albums, plus honorable mentions. I cannot be stopped. Our honorable mention song here is Sympathy Magic. I really like this one. I mostly love the lyrics and the theming and the messaging. There's some great instrumentals at the end, but it's just one that I don't listen to as much as these other ones, but I thought it deserved an honorable mention. Number 3 is gonna be You Can Have It All. There's a great build, yelling vocals by Florence Welch. Definitely like that one. But these top 2 really speak to me. Our second song on this album is going to be The Old Religion. I remember very specifically what I was doing when I first listened to this song. I was cleaning the house and I was listening to the album for the first time, and I was standing in front of my washing machine and I like literally stopped and just stared into space. It's very soul affirming. It's some of her best work. It's beautiful. I don't know how else to describe it. But for me, it doesn't quite beat out one of the greats, which I love when Florence talks about gender disparity. I think King is one of her best songs. But this one, it's too long, which I love about it, because a lot of men have audacity to make long, rambly songs, and so should Florence Welch, is my opinion. I love this like really distorted guitar and the kind of bare bones production at first. Lyrically excellent. Melody on the chorus, love. It's one of the songs of the year, I'll say that. Number 2 album of the year, If You Ask for a Picture by Blonde Shell. I discovered Blonde Shell recently. This is her second album. I also saw her on tour this year and there were not a lot of people there. I think that's gonna change. But this was definitely my most listened to album of the year. I think it doesn't help that I got obsessed with it when I drove across the country when I moved, so I listened to it a lot. I think Blonde Shell's gonna blow up. You heard it here first, folks. Our honorable mention on this album is going to be Event of a Fire. It should have been the last song on the album, that's my hot take. It's just very good, please listen. Our number 3 song is going to be Man. I think this was my 5th most listened to song of the year. There's kind of a repetitive bridge part at the end. It gets really stuck in my head. Number 2 song on this album is going to be Change. This is another one where the bridge gets me. I would just rewind and listen to the bridge over and over again. It was about a 2-week period where it's all I listened to. I'm gonna play the bridge here, it's so good. Number 1 song on this album is gonna be Arms. Just remember that you can't save him. That's all I need to say. Very good song. Now to our number 1 album of the year. It's gonna be Virgin by Lorde. I have a hard time pinpointing my favorite artist. I will say Lorde most of the time because it's true. I love them so much. I've been listening to Lorde since Royals was a single, right? Day 1, baby. Okay, top 3 songs, but first we're gonna do an honorable mention, and the honorable mention is going to be What Was That? I like that this was a single. I feel like once the album came out, I kind of stopped listening to it, but when it was a single, I listened to it all the time, right? The part where she's singing about a sandstorm, like it gets stuck in my head like that, like loop. I love the production. Very solid re-entry into the cultural consciousness. Okay, at number 3, and this did not used to be my number 3, but it's grown on me in the last few months. It's gonna be If She Could See Me Now. I also saw this one live. That was my best concert of the year, for sure. And the part where she goes, looking down. That part gets stuck in my head all the time, and the production's so good, and I love the kind of keys. Da, 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 da. Number 2, this is gonna be a lot of people's favorite, it's gonna be David. This is really some of her best work, feels like you're ascending into space, the stratosphere. Love this take on power dynamics, truly peak. But number 1, and this is top song of the year by a mile. It was my most listened to song by a lot. It's gonna be Current Affairs. This is another one where it felt like a sucker punch to the gut the first time I listened to it. This might be the best song she's ever written. I love the production. The instrumentals just feel otherworldly to me. And hearing it live, there were just like tears streaming down my face. Like, I don't know what it is about this song that moves me so much, but it's so good. Up next, we're on to books. So this is one where I did not read 2025 books, so these are just top 5 I read this year, not that came out this year. Our honorable mention is going to be a book-length fan fiction, and it's Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love. I know it was turned into a book. I have not read the book yet. And I've never been a huge fan fiction girly, and I've especially never been a big Harry Potter fan fiction girly. It is unsanctioned by the author, which... but this one was really great. I read some of the other Hermione fan fictions that y'all like, and I don't understand. Like, I was distressed by the popularity of some of those. This one is great. This one is very fun. I love the characterization. I love the banter. 10 out of 10. Okay, now we're gonna get into our top 5 books I read this year. At number 5, it's going to be The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This one was really solid. It's a really interesting concept. I love jumping to different parts of history. I think there were some fun twists. I think it's a little slow at times and it's nothing crazy, but like I had a good time from start to finish, so it's gonna be number 5. Before I get into number 4, I need to explain what happened in my book trajectory this year. I was reading a lot of kind of popular bestseller, book club, book talky books. And like there are some that I enjoyed. I think I had better luck last year with those. This is gonna make me sound pretentious, it really is. But I was just like, my mind is not being stimulated. And I think it was fine for the more escapist stuff, again, when I was writing the dissertation and I needed the escape. But then when I finished my PhD, I was like, I cannot read these anymore. I tried some like thriller mystery ones. I tried some romance books. I just couldn't do it. So of course what I decided to do was I wanted to be able to engage in the discourse, and I read Wuthering Heights. The movie's coming out in February. I wanted to understand why people were saying what they were saying. I've seen the 2011 adaptation of Wuthering Heights, but I couldn't really remember the story. I read the book. I am baffled by the trailer, by the way, and I'm baffled by the casting, as is most people. The aesthetics I like. I do like that it's filmed kind of like an 80s pulpy novel. I think aesthetically it's going to be really interesting. I do generally like Emerald Fennell, even though it's controversial, but I am perplexed by Wuthering Heights as an adaptation. I'm not going to speak to it until I've seen it. Anyway, this is not about movies, this is about books. The book was good, but a bit of a slog is my honest review. The romance is not interesting. It's not even a romance. The themes of haunting and generational grudges is much, much, much more interesting. There's a couple pages that really sing in terms of prose, and I was like, oh, we're cooking, but then it would kind of go away to the slog again. Did I enjoy it? Kind of. That's all I have to say there. I'll come back with the movie review later. So of course, now that I've purged our silly bestseller book talky books and read classic literature, number 3 on the list is gonna make perfect sense. And of course it's Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. I didn't completely abandon the escapist nonsense. Listen, say what you will about Ali Hazelwood, but as someone who was recently a grad student, I eat those books up every time. And this one was no exception. This is an age gap one. That's my content warning to you. I still liked it. I'm not going to get into the details. I had a great time. Highly recommend. Okay, at number 2 of the books I read this year, it's going to be Sunrise on the Reaping. My disclaimer, some of you might know that I've had the most intense Hunger Games phase a person could possibly have since the year 2008. I was Katniss for Halloween in 2009. This is pre-movie and pre the rest of the books. So I will admit I'm predisposed to liking a Hunger Games novel, I'll admit it. It's so good. The end made me sob. I think the trailer for the new movie looks really good. I think Francis Lawrence has done a great job with those movies. I'll eat them up every time. Suzanne Collins, keep them coming. And part of it is, if you told me at the age of 16 that we were getting a Hunger Games prequel with Haymitch's Games and there was also going to be a movie, I would have lost my mind. Just my childhood promises are coming true, so it's gotta be number 2. And number 1, and I'm cheating a little bit because I have like 50 pages left of this book at the time of filming this video, it's gonna be Jane Eyre. I kept my Bronte streak after Wuthering Heights. This one is much, much better in my opinion. I just think the sentence by sentence level prose and writing is so much more interesting. This is kind of what I wanted in terms of like a darker romance with twists, less so Wuthering Heights. I will say, after reading 2 Bronte novels this year, after historically exclusively reading Jane Austen novels, the difference is jarring. Instead of like the male characters being like vaguely standoffish, the male characters in the Bronte novels are like kidnappers and grave robbers. It's a jump in terms of the darkness of it all. But I am having a good time reading my Bronte novels and my classic novels. I'm probably going to continue that streak into 2026. And that's going to wrap us up on books. Our last category in the Media Roundup is going to be TV shows. And I try to vaguely keep this to things that came out in 2025. I'm fudging the numbers a little bit. So we're going to do top 5 shows, but I'm going to start off with 2 honorable mentions. The first honorable mention did not come out anytime close to 2005. It's going to be Parks and Recreation. And the only reason I'm throwing it in as an honorable mention is because I rewatched it this year for the first time in many, many years. My husband had never seen it all the way through before. And I've tried to rewatch it a couple times the last couple of years. And with the political moment, it never quite felt right. This year, I finally got into it again. Hadn't rewatched it since college. Very, very, very much enjoyed. It's a good time. Our second honorable mention is here, not in terms of quality, but in terms of enjoyment, and that is going to be Love Island USA season 7. This one came out when I was moving across the country, so I kind of just had it on in the background on my laptop and listened to it like a podcast when I was unpacking boxes. Because there's like 30 something episodes, there's an ungodly amount of episodes. So in terms of significant TV shows in my year, it's certainly there, and I had a really good time. I was a member of Nicolandria Nation before it was real, and that was very fun to engage with. Okay, at number 5 for TV shows is going to be The Pitt season 1. I binged this show. I would not recommend that. It's very upsetting. But I didn't realize it was in real time and every episode was an hour of the shift. That's very clever. Sometimes I think there's just like a few too many cases that they're working on at a time, but overall I think the real time is really effective. Can't believe how much characterization they managed to do. That was my concern, is I was like, how do I get to know the characters if it's one day? I sure did. It's gonna win a lot of awards probably, as it should. At number 4 is going to be The Rehearsal season 2. I did not watch The Rehearsal season 1. I tried. I could not do it. Nathan Fielder is really, really hit and miss for me. Sometimes it's too cringe, I cannot do it. It really works with season 2. I've never gasped so much in a TV show. I cannot believe what this man pulled off. I ended up showing this in my TV class, one of the episodes. It had to make the top 5. Top 3, I'm fudging a little bit because I think the last season came out at the very end of 2024, but I'm sneaking it in. It's gonna be Somebody Somewhere. I watched this more recently in the last couple months. I had not seen any of it before. It is so painfully delightful. Like, I don't think it's a perfect show, but it's so endearing. I just can't help but love it, and I think everyone should watch it. It's about a very beautiful friendship between 2 40-year-olds in Kansas. And there's like some really great representation in terms of trans characters and queer characters in ways that are very natural, but also very like small town USA. It's so nice. I cannot express to you how much I like this show. Okay, number 2, it's going to be Severance season 2. And I watched Severance season 1. I waited all those years when there was a cliffhanger. Not that I'm gatekeeping ever. I'm glad people are watching this show, but speaking of Parks and Recreation, I am a longtime Adam Scott stan. Very happy that the show is doing well. Tremel Tillman getting Emmys, deservedly so. He was amazing in Mission Impossible also this year. I think I like season 1 a little bit more still, but season 2 overall very satisfying, fulfilling, well done. My number 1 show of the year is going to be kind of combined. It's going to be Taskmaster, specifically season 19 of the UK version and season 5 of the New Zealand version. I have been unable to adequately describe Taskmaster to people, for people who don't know. So what you're going to do is you're going to go on YouTube and you're going to look up season 1, episode 1 of the original UK version. Watch that and then come back. It's at number 1, not in terms of it's better than Severance season 2 necessarily, or The Pit, but it's number 1 in terms of how much joy it brought me in my life this year. I love this show so much. The New Zealand version is just as good, if not better sometimes. I know that's a controversial claim, and it's because of the one and only Paul Williams, the love of my life. There's honestly not that much more to say. Just watch Taskmaster. I'm not going to explain it to you. Just go watch it. Okay, and our last category is going to be video games, and this is going to be very short because I only played 2 video games this year. And those 2 video games are going to be Stardew Valley and Hollow Knight Silksong. Stardew Valley I got really into last year. I think I still played it a little bit this year, but honestly I wasn't keeping too much track. But that game is either all or nothing. I'm either playing a lot or I just quit cold turkey. So I'm not playing it right now, but I did play some this year. And my number 1 game of the year is going to be Hollow Knight Silksong. I have waited many, many years for this game. I did not think it was going to come out this year, and it was so much bigger than I thought. It makes Hollow Knight look a little dinky now because it's so grand and beautiful. I've gotten the first ending. I've not quite gotten the second ending. It's very difficult. But I don't play video games and I'm making my way through, so don't let that stop you. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Okay, and that's going to wrap up our 2025 Media Roundup. We went over movies, we went over music, we went over books, we went over TV shows, and we briefly went over video games. Thank you for joining me on this journey. It was long, but I think it was interesting. And feel free to tell me what some of your top media was in the year 2025. We'll see you next time.